my fellow comic book collectors. It's Alan, the Comic Collector Geek, and I'm joined with my good friend Mark Olroyd from Suddenly Comics, and we are the Price Variants. This week, we're not talking about the hottest Silver Age, not or Golden Age or anything like that. We're actually going to show some collectibles in our collection, some things that we might be specking on, some things that we might be just collecting because we think they're cool. And we're going to show some kind of unique items. And I say that because I brought things that are not actually comics, but are related to comics.
That's fine.
So they are cool though, and they are kind of cool spec actually if you're into spec as well. So Mark is going to go first with this little bit of show and tell. What did you bring for us to see?
So one of my features of my life is I'm always about 20 years behind the times. Okay.
Okay, that's not a good thing.
So I started liking Bob Dylan in about 2010. And I sort of I started liking punk rock in about 2016, so I'm
Mhm.
I'm sort of about 20 years behind the trend. Uh
Almost 30, I would say, but okay, go
so,
ahead.
yeah, maybe. So a similar thing happened in comics because I took a big sort of when I got, kids came along, I sort of had about a 20-year break in comics. So there's a period
Mhm.
where I just wasn't buying or reading or keeping up with comics. So
Mhm.
occasionally I have a little dip back and go, well, what did I miss when I was from that period of time? And one of the things I missed completely was a guy
Mhm.
called Michael Turner. Um,
Okay.
he is the guy who created Witchblade.
Hmm.
So he was found by he's an interesting guy. He was actually an award-winning water skier and also
Okay.
a pretty reasonable martial artist. And
Didn't know that.
he was discovered at a comic convention by Mark Silvestri, uh,
Okay.
who got him to join Top Cow. So this was Image was the sort of individual houses, wasn't it? For Top Cow was one of the houses at Image. So
Sure.
he produced Witchblade for Top Cow and came out under the Image Top Cow sort of label. Uh,
Hmm.
and he was the sort of artist responsible for this. These used to be now. One of the advantages of having missed the hype is that there was a period of time where these Witchblade comics by Michael Turner were really expensive, but they've actually come
Yeah.
right down in price, right? So I picked this up for £7 on Whatnot the other day. It's
Yeah. I mean, I think it used to be like a $30 to $50 book,
Yeah,
something like
yeah,
that.
yeah.
Yeah.
I have now started. Michael Turner actually did the first 25 issues.
Hmm.
So I think it's worth picking up the first 25 issues. He then left and formed his own sort of company called Aspen Comics. And one of the first productions from Aspen Comics was this one called Soulfire.
Okay.
And again, I picked this one up recently. It's actually signed by Turner with a certificate of authenticity from 2005. Now, when he left Top Cow and went and set up Aspen, he took with him Soulfire and something called Fathom, which he'd been
Yeah.
working on at Top Cow. And Top Cow were not happy. They said the work you've done on Soulfire and Fathom belongs to us.
Um,
So there was a bit
well,
of a delay before he was able to set up Aspen. And unfortunately, he got pretty bad cancer, bone cancer
oh,
in 2000. He had an operation which removed about half his pelvis, um,
ouch.
and he died unfortunately in 2008 from cancer at the age of 37. So
Wow. So very short term that he
very,
was.
yeah, yeah. So quite a sad end to a real comic industry talent. And I said all during the time I was out of comics. So I've gone back and refound Michael Turner, which is
Mhm.
serendipitous because you can get his books now at really low prices. I'm sure he'll
Mhm.
come back again in terms of investments.
But I'm sure he would too, because like it's sort of like I feel like it's almost like Dave Stevens,
Yeah,
where people are discovering him And it's the same with Matt Baker of the Golden Age, where they're discovering these talented people that had like sort of like a short duration on this planet, and they produced amazing things during that time. So yeah, you never know, Michael Turner. The name is very famous, so
Yeah.
I'm sure people will come back to him.
Yeah, so that's my first sort of thing I just thought was worth showing and talking about and sharing.
Okay. Okay. So does that count as one item or
Yeah,
is
it
that
counts as
multiple?
one. I did show two, but they're both
Okay. Okay. Okay, well then I'm gonna have to grab something else. So I'm gonna show two items then. Since you showed two items, I have to show
okay.
two items. I'm
Okay.
very competitive.
As
Just like
you
my
are very
favorite.
competitive, I've noticed this.
Yes. So I am kind of like you. So back in the 90s, I got sort of drawn into the bad girls. You know, I really liked Vampirella and Lady Death and all of the various girls that were very sexy and skimpily clad. Um, but the one that I really fell in love with was Vampirella. And I sort of went on this crusade or like hunt thing where I basically was trying to find everything Vampirella. And it led me down the Warren path because that's where Vampirella first got her appearance. Because
Yeah.
like I was trying to get the first comic appearance, and that was like something totally different. And then they were like, "Oh, people were like, oh, did you know that she was in a magazine?" And I was like, "Magazine? What are?" I didn't even associate magazines to comics. Like that was how innocent I was at that time. And um, I really wanted not just every magazine, I wanted every collectible for Vampirella. Okay. So one of the grails of my collection is a little figurine of Vampirella. And it's this one.
Oh, it's very nice. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it's back here. Let's see if I can make
Did
it
you,
really
did you
shine.
did it come painted or do you have to make
It
paint?
came painted. So I actually got it. Like I actually have two of these. One is like a unassembled model kit,
Yeah,
like
in the
complete
box.
with instructions and yeah, in the box. And then I got this one. I got this one first, actually. The one where it's unassembled is actually way more valuable. This one is professionally painted and everything. And it sort of captures the Frank Frazzetta's Vampirella
Yeah,
from issue number one. The interesting thing about this is they even did her nails. I'm not sure if you can see that.
I can see it. Yeah. Yeah.
They took some real time. It was professionally done. And the bat is the rare thing. So often you get these Vampirella models and they're missing the bat. The bat is like a big key item for these little Vampirella things. And these were originally sold for like $1.99 or
Yeah. Yeah.
99 cents, something like that. At the back of Warren magazines. And there was a company called Aurora
Aurora.
Model.
Yeah, I've seen the adverts.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they did a Frankenstein monster and everything. Yeah.
Yeah, they had a whole bunch of different ones. And they're pretty cool. They're very collectible actually. There's like a niche group of collectors that go after these models. Uh, some of the other ones that are kind of bigger, like like some of they have like sort of bigger kits where it's like a whole scene. Um, but the Vampirella ones are kind of super cool for me. So with me, I go down those rabbit holes. Like I really do. Like just like the way you did. I ended up getting Vampirella, but I also wanted other of those back, those little advert things that are at the back of the cover comic. And I wanted to get like, oh, these are little pieces of history. These are little pieces of like something. And the other thing that I got, and it's kind of related to Vampirella, is my Dracula dirt pendant.
Oh,
And
yes.
it is real. It is real. It's got a certificate of authenticity. So this is officially dirt from Dracula's castle.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, Alan, I've got a little bit of stone. Um, it's from the Berlin Wall. Would you like that? It's only 5 grand.
Exactly, exactly. So this is like very authentic. And it was only 9.95.
Oh, bargain, mate. A bit of dirt for
And
95.
and it's a gold colored necklace. So it's
If you wear it, it's
real gold colored
real gold
necklace.
colored. Yeah.
And this was one of 5,000 that were made. And it's signed by James Warren, who is the creator of Warren Publishing. And and he even writes on it, so yeah, you know that it's real. Um, he is he is as a shadow and hath no reflection. At night he penetrates through walls and doors. Abandon all hope, ye who doth approach. The Dracula soil pendant, it was created in a limited edition of 5,000, which is numbered. So this is number 3,764. This is to warrant and guarantee the soil contained in the Dracula pendant came directly from the grounds of the authentic Dracula Castle Dracula.
Yeah. So I can see myself sitting at a Warren board meeting, right? And the chief financial officer is going, guys, we are $50,000 short of our budget this month. What are we going to do? And somebody goes, I know, let's produce 5,000 pendants of dirt and sell them for $10 each, and that'll cover the budget deficit.
Are you one of those people that's like a sea monkey denier as well? They live in kingdoms,
I am a sea monkey denier. It's a hate crime, I know, but I'm afraid
Yes.
that I deny the existence of sea monkeys.
Okay, so that's my first item, which is a little bit of Warren, where I kind of went down that rabbit hole of Warren collectibles. Yeah, that's kind of, but they're fun. I love them. They're silly, they're hokey. Yes, I know, but yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Fine. So there you go. For taste. I quite like the Vampirella. I'm not sure about the Dracula's dirt. Right.
Oh, the pendant is awesome. Every time you wear it, you get a bit of dirt on yourself, and then you get like sort of the green color.
It goes
It's
green.
awesome.
Yeah. Okay. So my second item I'm showing the show is again, it's a sort of rabbit hole type of thing.
Mhm.
I was watching whatnot. There's this Italian guy on. I think he's called Sicilian Comics. So he's from Sicily or somewhere. And he's got an Italian accent. And he's showing a load of Italian Batman comics, right? And I've never seen these before, and I've not really got into sort of foreign editions before, but I've always been quite tempted because some of them look great. Anyway, he's showing these really early, quite early Batman comics. So he had about 10 of the things, okay. And I said, look, I'll buy all of them from you, but I want a really good deal. So
Mhm.
we went a bit back and forth, yeah.
Okay.
And eventually we agreed a price we were both happy with. I think it was I got about 25% off what it would have been if I'd bought them all individually.
Sure. So that's not bad.
No. Anyway, they went off to my Stackery account and they came to the UK. When they arrived, I was really pleased with them because they're in a fantastic condition. This is the earliest one. Um, this is from 1967. So this was produced in Italy in 1967. You'll see it says 100 lira up here.
So
Uh,
these were bought in the US, and
yeah,
then
but the guy was Italian, but he was living in the US. So whether,
okay, very odd. That's
yeah,
just
yeah.
okay. That's really cool.
I mean, really difficult to find these. You won't difficult to find these.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's really difficult finding back editions in European countries other than the UK. They just don't have a tradition of back edition comics. Um, and this is by a publisher called Mondadori Albo. Okay. Now
Mhm.
the publisher who owned this was the Silvio Berlusconi's family, who was the sort of prime minister of Italy for quite a
Mhm.
period of time, who was famous for having a number of very young ladies.
He had a pretty he instituted a really cool rule where on the like he was disturbed by these kind of ugly women on the beach, and he said he basically said they weren't allowed to wear bikinis or something like that. It was like, or they couldn't go nude or something. It was some silly thing if you were ugly.
Okay, so when I got this one, I thought, hang on a minute, I don't recognize that as a Batman cover.
Yeah, no, it's very odd. It
It's not a
does
Batman.
not look.
It is a
What
cover.
was it?
It's from Justice League America 46. So that is the cover to Justice JLA 46.
Is it the exact same cover?
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Well, it doesn't have a big splash on it.
Oh yeah, 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 of course. But I mean,
Playing
it
club.
had Batman
Yeah,
because it looks like Batman's kind of coming at a weird angle.
yeah, but
Like he's like,
it is actually a pretty good reproduction of that cover. So in here, it's like a bit like the Alan Class ones. You get a number of reprints. So in this, it's got Detective Comics 366 and Justice League America 46 and 47.
mhm,
Yeah. So probably going to send this off and get it graded. I've had it cleaned and pressed. Uh,
okay.
it's in pretty decent shape. Probably a
And is
probably
there
a
a census for these things? Is
Yeah,
like, can
yes. CGC will do a census for them, even if they will slab these, and if they haven't already got one on a census, they'll create the census for you and put it on it.
you?
So I
Because
don't,
like finding these things like on Go Collect or anything like that,
I
it's
won't find it.
really hard.
You really won't find them because there's just how many of these are going to be around? Very few, I'll tell you. So
Mhm.
yeah, so there you go, and that has set me off on a bit of a. I haven't gone, mate, but I do now buy occasional foreign editions if I see them. Just
Mhm.
add to my collection.
Well, and actually, I think those foreign editions have a lot of potential in
Yeah.
terms of it seems like there's collectors that are kind of going for those more obscure things. So
Hmm.
I think it's quite cool. Speaking of obscure things, I'm going to show you. This is not a comic, but it is very related to comics. Um, I'm not sure if you're familiar with this one.
Oh, I know. Yes, I have seen this.
This
It's a
is
comic, isn't it? It's a big thing.
Yeah, it's a big thing. So this is Raw number two,
Yeah,
and it's literally called Raw number
yeah,
two.
yeah,
It's like and basically I believe it was like a graphics magazine for the damned intellectuals, okay?
yeah,
But it's sort of like this sort of magazine size, actually bigger than a magazine.
yeah. It
It's quite
is.
large. With like kind of unique art and
It's like an art book, isn't it?
yeah, it's very much like an art book. But at the very back of it, I'm actually going to take it out. Just give me a sec.
I did Art Spiegelman's mouse first appear in Raw magazine?
That's that's what it is. I'm going to show you that. I have to be a little bit careful taking it out. Okay, so this is, and I'll show you what it looks like inside. You got like kind of very underground comics
Yeah,
kind of level.
yeah, yeah. I
You
think
know,
I've got an issue of this somewhere. Yeah, I haven't got this issue, but I do have an issue of it.
it's some funny stuff.
Yeah.
Some kind of cool stuff. But at the very back, you're right. We got a
Oh
little
no.
comic,
Yeah, that's nice.
and it's still attached.
Yeah,
That's rare. So and it's Spiegelman's mouse.
brilliant. Really like that. That's a really good, nice collectible.
Yeah, so very rare. This is rare in the first place. Rare to have the actual thing
Attachment
attached
still in.
still.
Yeah,
Yeah, and it's sort of like a visual arts kind of
yeah, magazine. Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah,
artists would love this kind of thing.
yeah, yeah.
Um so yeah, so this is Raw magazine number two. And this one actually goes for quite a bit of money,
Yeah,
especially because of all the hype associated to the banning of Mouse. Mouse wasn't actually banned, just so you know. It was just not allowed in schools
yeah,
because there was nudity. I mean it wasn't like they were trying to hide anything. It was because of the nudity actually.
yeah. Have you
Um,
looked at the nudity in it? I mean, it's pretty limited.
they actually show full frontal male nudity in it. And there's a scene of suicide as well that they didn't like. The mouse's mother
Yeah,
commits
yeah,
suicide.
yeah,
So
yeah,
they were just sort of objecting to, like, I think they didn't want it in the younger grades. They didn't want it. They were fine with it in high school, but they just didn't want the younger kids to be exposed to being like exposed, I guess. So yeah, so that was a thing. So it really wasn't actually banned, but it was just prevented in the younger ages of schools. It's one of those things. The media likes to hype things
Yeah,
more than what
yeah.
the real story
Like
is.
a headline.
And once, yeah, when you look into it, it's not as big of a deal. But because of that big deal that they made about it, it became very hot commodity. And that
Of course. Yeah,
looking for that very first comic appearance of Mouse is a thing. And this is the first comic appearance of Mouse.
yeah.
So
Well, it's the same when you
okay.
ban anything, it makes it immensely more popular and people seek it out.
Yeah, that's the funny thing. Yeah. So and the funny thing is there is another book that you would have to get if you're really a mouse collector, which is Funny Annie Mouse or Nowls, Amy Nowls.
Yeah, yeah,
I always miss. It's not animals. It's like the N and the M are switched, and
yeah.
So that book also contains what's considered to be the first appearance of Mouse in
Okay.
comics. It's when it's actually in a comic book.
Yeah.
So okay,
Ah, good one. Like that one.
okay.
Right, my next one. I think I might have shown it before, but I'm going to show it again because I love it. It's so this is, in a way, this is a foreign edition. It's a foreign edition if you live in America. It's not a foreign edition if you live in the UK.
Okay.
This is,
Yeah. Okay.
this is my this is Alan Class. So I've talked about him before. He was a guy who published American comics, reprinted American comics in the UK between 1959 and 1989. So immediately after the war, and for some years afterwards, you couldn't bring magazines or comics in from America to the UK because the UK
Mhm.
government wanted to stimulate the UK printing industry. So the only way you could get US comics for a period of time was if they printed them in the reprinted them in the UK. So there was a
Mhm.
market for reprinting US comics in the UK. But that
Mhm.
went away fairly shortly after this guy started up, but he carried on doing it because he got the rights to reprint, Marvel, American Comics Groups, Archie, Charlton. He didn't have the rights to DC, so there are no Alan Class DC reprints.
So
Um,
do you have any of the Alan Class Archie? I think that'd be interesting.
no,
I
I
haven't
don't
seen
know.
it.
When I
I've
say
never
Archie
seen those.
Comics, it wasn't. He didn't do Betty and Veronica and Archie. He did
Oh, okay.
the Archie superhero stuff.
Like Jaguar and The
Yeah, and
Fly and
Fly.
all those
Yeah,
things.
yeah, yeah.
Oh, okay. It would be cool if it was like Betty and
Yeah,
Veronica.
I would be, but I don't think there are any of those. Right, so
Okay.
my favorite one, and I actually think this looks better in the Alan Class version than it does in the original, is this, which is the first appearance of Vision in comics. So this is a reprint
Mhm.
of Avengers, which is it? Avengers 57, yeah, Avengers 57. Cover of
And
John Buscema artwork, stunning cover by John Buscema. I know
yeah, that's
you
great.
told me this before. He copied it off something else from the Golden Age or something.
Yes, yes.
um, but
There was a panel in the Golden Age comic
yeah,
originally.
I actually found this in the
Hmm.
US and I bought it
Oh wow.
I bought it raw in the
Hmm.
US and it shipped to me in the UK. When I got it, it was in fantastic shape. So I thought I'm going to get that graded. So did
Hmm.
send a number of my Alan Class comics off to CBCS at the time, um, get them graded. And this came back 6.5. I was hoping for a 7.0, but it's still the second highest graded on either CBCS or CGC census.
So
Um,
how many of these are on the census?
there's about 8.
Oh wow. So really rare books.
Very
Okay.
rare. And you finding them in this condition is virtually impossible. So
The reds seem deeper
the red is
than the
deeper. Yeah, the
yeah.
red is deeper. And the other thing you get with Alan Class is it's
It's a
wider.
little wider. Yeah.
So you actually get more of the artwork because the guys did draw on a bigger board.
Hmm.
So Alan Class, you do get some of the artwork that you don't get on the US versions. Um, yeah.
The interesting thing for me about Alan Class is a lot of like whenever you get like foreign editions of things, usually it's a different cover because they don't get the rights to do the cover.
Yeah, no,
But
Alan,
Alan did, so
yeah,
that's really interesting.
yeah, I didn't do any original artwork. All the artwork on Alan Class comics is all the original. Um,
Mhm.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, that's very cool.
yeah.
Okay, so I have one last item to show, and for this round, and then we'll go on to your show, and we'll show some more stuff. So one of my things is I always like to think of collecting in a certain weird way. Like I think, okay, I'm a key collector. Like I like to get those key first appearances. So what are the big things you go for? You go for the first appearance, you go for the first cover as well, right? And you go for the first titled thing
Yeah.
by that character, or maybe the first engagement of where they're appearing in something. So one of the things that I was really trying to find out was when like this I sort of went down this weird rabbit hole. Like I wanted to get Sad Sack #1 because it's the first appearance of Little Dot. And then I was like, oh, but I should really get the first appearance of Sad Sack. it's like it's just like this kind of way of thinking. And then I found out that Sad Sack actually was published in a magazine called Yank Magazine. And Yank Magazine was basically a magazine that went out to the military people, and George Baker, who created Sad Sack, he was a sergeant in the military,
Yeah.
and they would kind of rely on the military to produce the magazine. It's like sort of like a
In-house magazine.
high school. Yeah, it's like a high school
Yeah.
thing where everyone in high
Yeah.
school makes the high school
Yeah.
magazine. Well, this is like the thing for the U.S. military. And so they would get like different artists and that wanted to contribute to it, and George Baker was one of them. And he created Sad Sack while he was doing that. And so I wanted to find out what was the first cover appearance of Sad Sack, and it was in that weekly army magazine called Yank. And
Oh,
this is the very first a cover appearance of Sad Sack.
that's great.
Um, and this is Yank, the Army Weekly from June of 1943. So this
Fantastic.
is like height of the war, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and Sad Sack actually is a very interesting character. A bit of controversy around him because Sad Sack is a bit of a loser in many ways. Like the word sad sack actually has
Yeah.
become, sad sack life kind of thing. And that is controversial because during that time they really wanted to keep morale up
Yeah.
and to create a character that maybe is a bit demoralized was a bit of a controversial take.
Yeah, but you see why that's so good is that this is
Mhm.
read by the troops. All of the people, all the troops who read this will have recognized somebody they knew who was like this. Yeah.
Yes, yeah.
You know,
And they're making fun of him.
yes. Yeah. Yeah.
So that's a good thing. So that's why it kind of got around. So there really was a bit of controversy around that. And yeah, it's like he's like, using his K rations, and it gives you a lot of the insight into that military history, right? And he looks very disheveled and sad.
Yeah,
And
although he's
it's
a
just,
bit sad and disheveled, he always gets the better of the character called Sarge. So,
yes.
so there is a sort of the sort of basic troop guy, at the bottom of the pile. Uh,
Yeah, you can relate to, yeah.
always gets the better of the sergeant who's shouting and telling them what to do. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, somebody I just think it's a really cool piece of history. And yeah.
I like that one.
So yeah, so that's my last one. Now we're gonna show three more each on Mark's channel. So we gotta go over there. There are gonna be some pretty cool items actually. Mark showed me a bit beforehand. So I know that they're pretty cool for Mark, and I got some pretty cool things to show. So go over to Mark's channel. In the link to the description, I linked to his channel. So Yeah, thanks again, Mark.
Yeah, I've got a fantastic thing, which is some seaweed, which the guy sold me from the creature of the Black Lagoon.
Okay, you just don't realize how brilliant this is, okay? Look at this. This is like quality, okay? Quality.
Yes, Alan.
Okay, okay, bye.
Bye.